Hello, hello.
Hello.
What an unusually busy day. So, I saw everybody this morning where I warned them that I was brutally jet lagged, and that hasn't changed. And then
Oh
you
dear.
popped on to stream at 11. Well, 11, the time that resides in my heart.
It was so good to see you this morning live and now see you now chatting live. It's great.
And for
Hope you're
folks who aren't joining us live, nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. So, we're in our very last week of a free web development bootcamp, and we're able to bring you some extra streams looking at supplemental real world ways to solve the same problems, courtesy of Couchbase. Thank you, Couchbase.
thanks, Couchbase.
It is fair to say that while this isn't sponsored content, they are paying me as a consultant on my time, which I also appreciate. So, yay, getting extra time to work on this and being able to uh, feed my cats are both very, very high on my priorities. What did we do yesterday?
Yeah, so yesterday we started out building our solution to the free CodeCamp responsive web design certification project called the product landing page.
Product landing page. Okay.
And we started out doing some pair programming. You were navigating and I was driving.
I
Um,
liked that. That worked for me. That was very, very convenient for me.
I love it. It means I have to like it's I always find it interesting because you would think just from bird's eye view that driving means you have to think more. But in reality, you're just being told what to do. For me, that's very freeing.
Oh, do you know what? As a very, very mean, bossy person, I think this works perfectly. Let's get where did we get last time? Can we take a look at it? Because we had
Yeah,
committed everything to Git. We had pushed it. We'd committed. We'd
indeed.
added it, committed it, and pushed it, and that was all very satisfying.
Absolutely. And in fact, what we're going to be so what we did is we started building our own product page, which was a subscription service for used science fiction books in different languages.
Amazing, super chill. So can we grab? Oh, do I have to push the button to put this on?
So
Sorry.
yeah, so I'm sharing my screen at the moment. Hey, there we go.
Sorry about that.
You're totally fine. So here we go. Here we can see. So I'm sharing my entire screen because we're going to need to be jumping around some windows. But in short, we've got here our GitHub repository for the project, which you can see yesterday was last worked on.
That's true. I did not do any work last night.
I certainly did not either. So we got 2 commits there where we added some pages and stuff. And what we're going to be doing today is continue developing this project so that we can pass this certification here.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing that mostly by, that is an old solution.
Look how cute that is.
Oh, thank you. It doesn't quite work, but it is cute. Thank you.
I mean, same.
So we're going to make sure this passes, and then we're going to deploy it. We're going to connect it to some backend stuff and maybe deploy it to Netlify if possible.
Yeah. I think today, did we learn about how to do Netlify forms?
We did. So if in case you missed it, let me grab the link. That was such a good
Let
stream.
me grab the link. You do too much.
No nonsense, but I can tell you. So we had the wonderful Phil Hawksworth from Netlify come on and teach us how to deploy our websites to Netlify, and he showed us everything from like different versions of websites to how these changes go live to even using and collecting form data, which hey, it turns out we can use right now. So that's going to be really helpful.
Yeah, let's jump right into the code.
Absolutely.
And
So here's my
our
terminal.
scary terminal.
Here's our terminal. What we're going to do is open the project in VS Code. So I'm going to type in code
Dot.
and a dot for the current folder we're in, which is the product landing page folder.
And that'll open all the files in that folder.
Correct.
Amazing.
And in fact, I already had it open. So I just said, hey, there's your window.
Oh, you'd be like, and here was our license. We went with Creative Commons is a super weird license to apply to code. But we're having a weird little day.
Yeah, but everything is fine. We're going to be continuing to develop this. Remember, we had, check it out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 HTML files, one for each category of sci-fi, which in this case are languages.
Yeah, and we can just do the English one now because otherwise I'm going to be messing up a lot of French and Japanese trying to get the content. Or we can Ipsum. Oh, does Ipsum Lauren exist in other languages?
That is a question that I want to
Because
find out the answer to.
it is already another language, but
Oh, true. The other thing I'm going to do while I'm here is open my index.html file in my browser. So you can type in open and then the name of the file. And that is kind of the same as double clicking it in Windows Explorer or Finder. Or again, I didn't check that this was correct, Nautilus if you're on Linux. Or Ubuntu, I should say. But yeah, let's open that up. So there's a file on my browser. So we've got our nav bar. We can navigate there. Those pages are currently empty, but they're still there. So what should we do next, Jess?
well, let's do the hard part next, if that's okay. Shall we make a form? And the form here, I think we just need one input.
Correct. We will need, in fact, the instructions are giving us some user stories as well, which I'm going to
We've
cheat a
got
little.
Lasset coming in and saying, hey, do you know what? We still use lorem ipsum in Poland. Thank you.
Well, I'll be.
And now, do you know what? I'm wondering about lorem ipsum in vertical text and RTL languages. And that
Right.
is definitely so RTL languages are
I
so
was going to ask.
many Western languages are left to right.
Yeah.
So English, we go this way. Am I mirrored? It's fine. But
I can't tell.
languages like Arabic or Hebrew or Persian are read the other way on a page. And I wonder if ipsum lorem still feels as satisfying. This is
Curious.
not important. We should definitely have a separate stream for goofy language stuff.
I mean, it's a way to fill out the contents of your page, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely relevant. So what did we want to say? Oh, right, the forum. So we've got our main portion of our website. Do we want to put that somewhere else, our form?
Oh, do you know what? So we're doing a really traditional product landing page. So in
Yep.
our hearts, this doesn't exist as a product yet. We're just seeing if we get enough interest. And if we
True.
do get enough interest, we'll go to our venture capitalist or our mom to ask for a little investment to say,
Yeah.
hey, can I have $300? I want to buy a bunch of used books for
Mhm.
business. I have 300 email addresses of people interested in buying this, so I need to buy a bunch of used. So I think we probably want to put that on the main page.
Cool.
Ooh, learners asking a question after my own heart. Say, hey, and I think no in this case, but this is
Ooh,
should we change the lang attribute for every segment that doesn't match our HTML's language?
can we do that?
Unfortunately, we can't. So we should only have one lang attribute set per individual page. We should, I think, according to best practice, I think we should set the language on our Spanish page to Spanish. I think we should
Okay.
but when we set that meta tag, because the meta tag's for the whole page, I'm so sorry that if we switch it between and now it's Spanish and for individual pieces of text, it's going to be super, super stressful. This is such a good question though. And the only reason I answer that so quickly is I've tried to do it in the past and have
Mm,
had somebody come by and say, Jess, what are you doing? That's so weird. Because Learner did the exact same thing I thought. I thought I could put more meta
yeah.
tags in. I just use divs because I do as I say, not as I do. But did get somebody coming along to be like,
Can't
Jess,
do that.
no.
I never thought of that, but that is unfortunate, but like
You're not supposed to have favorite learners, but anybody who's like, hey, I've got this really weird edge case. And an edge case is when you have an error or a question that's so specific it's unlikely to impact other people.
love it. Cool. So we'll leave that as is, but we wanted to have this be part of our main page. Did we want to start dividing these into sections already?
I think. Oh, actually, this is another really good follow-up point. Literally says, "Do you know what? I feel like this is gonna be stressful for screen readers." So screen readers should still be able to read this, but it's gonna be really, really stressful for people using different assistive technology to have all these different languages read aloud. Can we just delete our H2 and sort of cheat our way around that?
Hmm.
This was a really good point. I massively appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm
So
not sure.
I think it's a very showy to be English, Francais, Español. But we might just delete that just because that's going to be reasonably stressful for.
You know,
Hmm.
because I was gonna say, like in the other pages, we could put,
We could go ahead and stick with every page being consistently in the language of its meta tag.
I was gonna say.
Anytime you have a good idea, I'm like, yoink, that's mine.
Fair. Fair.
It's not unlike how real managers work.
Right. So we will change. So what do we do with these? Do we make this in English? Is that? Oh, it's a bit. It's a bit
It's
sad to
not
have to
as
default.
fun,
I know.
but it is a really good HTML lang ing. Yeah.
So science. You know what I'm gonna do, Jess, because I am gonna forget how to write
No, are you
these.
gonna show off? Are you gonna show off and do that thing again? Because it was very cool.
No, sadly not. No, what I was gonna do was I'm gonna do something a little bit lazy, which is that I'm going to comment these out because I'm gonna forget how to type them, And if you remember from previous lessons, friends, so we can do bigger than, I think it was exclamation point. Dash, dash.
Dash, dash. Oh.
Dash, dash. VS Code is being very helpful in.
Unnecessarily helpful.
I think
Does
it's a
that
bit messy.
feel like it's comment? Oh, you need one more. So your closing anchor tag needs a.
Yeah, it's a bit wonky here. So what I'm going to do is do that. There we go. That looks good again. So I'm going to comment this out. There we go.
That worked. And this is a really good example of what comments are really good for. So sometimes you say, oh, to do, fix later. But a lot of times it's, I had an idea and I don't know if I want to keep this idea.
Yeah. Exactly. And that way I can remember and just be like, oh yeah, this is the part where I want science. Oh, sci-fi, I'm going to be consistent in French. And then I can do the same for a bunch of these. Don't know why my formatting.
Ciencia fiction is very pretty.
Ciencia fiction. Oh, it just rolls. I mean, I'm biased because I love this language, but it just rolls off the tongue better.
And for folks who don't speak a whole bunch of languages, don't worry. It's fine. It's just that Ramon is the smartest among us.
No, not true.
It's true.
It is not.
And for folks who do speak a whole bunch of languages, show off in the Discord, show off the chat sometimes. I'm always excited.
Yeah. So, sci-fi in Japanese.
Oh, and do you know what I think we can do? I think this means that we could take our nav here and copy and paste it onto our other pages later.
Exactly.
And then go ahead and localize them there. Yeah. Oh, so we've already talked about how accessibility is sometimes shorted as A11Y.
No, I don't know about this. Could you elaborate?
Yeah. So let me A11Y. Accessibility is often called A11Y because it's an A, 11 letters, and then Y. Accessibility is, so it's 13 letters altogether. I kind of think that this is kind of an inaccessible way to talk about accessibility because it requires sort of like in knowledge. So if I say write down accessibility, I go, oh yeah, accessibility. I think I might know what this is. And if I see A11Y for the first time, I go, okay, mystery code.
Yeah.
Ooh, Aspa says that for it's alarm. It's epistemonikis fantasticus in Greek. Shush, this is so cool. Oh no, nope. I'm not touching my keyboard, so I can't go on a weird journey where I read about this text. But localization, L10N is the exact same thing, and that's when you localize different webs for sometimes for currency, sometimes for language, but really you make it work for a local market. Okay. Now, I think we've got our nav, which works. We've got
Mhm.
our description of what this is. And we can actually take our H2 and say launching soon, register your interest,
Oh, good
and then
idea.
add a form. Yeah.
Great idea. So we'll do that here. So coming soon, and then a form inside here, like this, right?
Yeah.
And inside
Everything's fine.
here, we're gonna have an input.
I think the input here is supposed to be email, right?
Oh, whoops,
Oh,
sorry.
save, save, save,
Accidentally.
save.
Yes, good idea. Good. This is why Git is good.
Should we go ahead and check our work, save our work, check our work, and push our work?
Good idea. So back here. Oh, look at that.
Okay.
I'm starting to feel a little bit iffy on like sci-fi and English, like the repetition of sci-fi in.
Hmm. We do you want to? We'll leave it for now, and then we can argue it.
Totally.
Oh
Uh
gosh, people are showing off how to say hello in different languages, and I'm
oh,
so
look at
excited
this.
about. So Telugu, is this written? Oh gosh, there's even an arrow showing that it's left to right. That's so pretty. Or is it? Is it right to left? Is it left to right?
Wow.
Oh, but getting us back on track, learner says, wait, 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 wait. Do we need to close the input? I think inputs are
Oh, yeah.
self-closing.
That would
Let's
explain why VS
try.
Code. Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, let's just put an input, and then if VS Code doesn't try to do it, that
Yeah, good
means we
idea.
didn't need it.
Nothing.
Yeah. Oh, chill.
Cool. So,
So
right, we need our this is an email.
yeah. And we could technically use a text box, but
Right?
why would we want to use email instead?
Yeah, so we can have different types of inputs, and uh one thing we could do here is instead of having so by default inputs type defaults to text, but what we
Yeah,
can have here is the type set to email.
email.
And
And this oh, sorry, you
go
first.
ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think this is especially useful because it will check that it's shaped like an email. It's not gonna validate that it's a real email. You can use different kinds of systems. Uh, but this is just gonna say, "Hey, does it have" I think at least what are the requirements? It'll validate that it has at least 2 letters, at least 1 letter, an @ sign, and then at least 1 letter, a dot, and then a top level I don't know if it validates the top level domain.
I'm not sure.
Let me
Sometimes
grab
I sometimes, you know, because my email address is with the domain .dev, like
Ooh.
DEV, and I know that that'll throw off some websites.
So, what does value I'm checking out what it says in MDN. Oh, that's really cool. Um,
Oh,
yeah, because you know what? It points out that depending on your operating system, it might also change the keyboard for you, which I think is very cool.
amazing.
So while we're both looking at the same thing at the same time. So you could set a min and max. Ooh, do you want to set a min and max length?
For oh, for the email? No, I didn't quite
Yeah, we
understand.
can. Using email inputs, simple email. Allow. I don't want multiple email address. I'm just
Yeah.
So,
Oh, we can have a limit to the size of the email address.
yeah.
Why would we want that?
Oh, just in case somebody, so because we're not doing actual validation, somebody could put absolute nonsense in there and it would just be a little bit annoying. Learner
Got
points out that, we would just be doing it to do it. We don't actually need it, which is a very good. And you know what? Not only do we not need it, but if we put a limit, say 30 on there, somebody who lives in a region where you have exceptionally long names or multiple names back to back, we could actually be excluding folks based on our expectations of how long we think an email should be or how long we think a name should be. And while that's incredibly important, I'm also very lazy. So let's just do a plain old email.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
We're just gonna
everything's easy.
type email. Then, because right now, let me take a look. Take a look at our email. So if I refresh, it doesn't look much different.
It doesn't.
Hmm.
And do you know what? We can't even check and see if this works because we're missing a couple of pretty important things.
Right. Do we want to put some of those in?
I mean, I think we probably need a submit button.
Good point. So that's going to be an input of type submit. So let's
Oh,
put that in.
you're not boring. I'm just on Canadian time.
You're totally fine. Just there we go. There's our
Okay.
submit button.
And I think we probably want to have some kind, because right now, if I'm
Hmm.
using assistive technology and I come in here, it'll be coming soon.
Yeah. Yeah, we need a
Yeah.
bit more info, huh?
Yeah.
So, whoops. Let's put in here.
And we've got some other good points. So we've got somebody saying, hey, do you know what? If a lot of people use a plus and a folder notation for Gmail or for other email addresses that accept that, I always do. I always say the org's name or the domain name plus and then my email. That way, if they sell your email on in marketing, you know who did it. But yeah, so we don't actually need to limit the size on that. That's an extremely good point.
Fair point. But we do need to tell them like sign up and no, register
Your
your
interest. Yeah.
interest. Perfect. Register your interest.
And it's tempting to think if you do set one of these, oh wow, I got 500 email addresses, 500 people will buy this right away. And I don't. I think it's easier to share your email address than to send somebody money.
Exactly.
It's easier to get me to share my email address than to get me to send somebody money.
All fine. So we've got our email address. So that's give that a refresh. Looks good. What I've been learning during this boot camp is that my form input should have a label.
Yes, that's what I was looking for.
So we'll put a label there. That one puts it automatically, the closing tag.
Yeah, okay, then it's a closing tag.
Email. Now for accessibility, we'll need to link
For.
this exactly for I wrote form email. And then under so now if we have a for, we need a corresponding ID.
Yeah. Email. This is
So
gonna say email a whole heckin' bunch.
yeah, because we need one more email, and that's to tell the server that is the recipient of this data, hey, what's the label on this box of data?
So just coming through this form, I'm starting the form.
Yep.
Then I say, here's a label. I want to tell accessible devices. I'm going to tell accessibility technology what this form is for. And then next I say, here's my input type. Here's the box where I'm going to put email addresses. And the ID here is saying, hey, this belongs to that label we just set. And then the name is going to go into a field where it'll say email address that's given, email address. So this is going to make sure that if I had a form with a bunch of different things, if I had a form that said, how many sisters do you have? And then I had a form that also said, how many cats do you have? And I'm seeing a bunch of data come in and somebody sent me data back and says 4 and 9. I'll be like, oh, do you have 4 cats? Do you have 4 sisters?
Fair
Without these
point.
names, I just don't know.
Yeah.
Ooh, this is another good point to say, hey, do you know what? It's possible to nest the input in the label, which could reinforce the relationship. That
Ooh,
is
let's give that a try.
yeah. I'm reasonably sure it's going to work just fine because you sound very confident. I love when somebody's very confident.
So
Seems to
check it
work.
out now. When I click on email, it'll like highlight the thing.
The whole thing. Oh, this is especially going to be especially good for folks who are possibly using keyboard navigation as well.
Oh yeah, of
Because
course.
like when you tab to it, it'll highlight the whole element.
Wow. See that I
Yeah.
never see. I always thought that the nesting was good for checkboxes or radio buttons, but I never thought that for text.
If it
It's
works,
amazing.
it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of programmers say, oh, the worst possible feeling is when your tests pass and they shouldn't. I say, is it? Is it? That's tomorrow's problem. Did I say tomorrow's problem? And you went, oh no.
I mean, look, I love doing this, so I am not complaining. So we've got our label, we've got our label, we've got our input. What are we missing? I
Oh,
think our
somebody's asking about keyboard navigation. You keep chatting.
yeah.
So keyboard navigation. Let me see if I can find a good article about
Oh,
this.
that'd be amazing.
Who are these people? I don't know these people.
Oh. Oh,
Sorry, that's not helpful.
no, you're great.
Okay, so here is what looks like a reasonably reliable. I'm always so fussy about who I share links from. But here is a web accessibility nonprofit at the University of Utah, which is very specific. Oh,
Mm.
where am I? Who am I? And they've
Oh,
got some text about keyboard navigation. And keyboard navigation is saying, hey, this is for folks who can't or don't want to or don't always want to use a mouse to navigate. Because for
look
many
at
people,
this.
this feeling can be really challenging.
Yeah.
And these are some sort of introductions to keyboard accessibility. It's one of the most important aspects of web accessibility. And this is making you could put a lot of people with motor disabilities rely on a keyboard. But also, there's a reasonably famous image in web accessibility that says sometimes we also have temporary impairments. So we say um, it's really easy to use a mouse and a keyboard two-handed if you've got fine motor skills that are available to you. But what if you've got a baby or a cat that you're holding in one arm? Okay, you've got one hand, you're going to be tabbing with a keyboard. So these are incredibly important things to do so that folks with different levels of disability and different temporary issues
Right.
um, get to use the internet and get to use your products in the way they really want.
One
Um,
one one go-to example for me is when I'm looking something I shouldn't do,
oh,
is looking at my phone when I'm sleepy, you know? And,
yeah.
like, I have a like, that having some of those considerations taken to make it easier for me. I mean, in theory, it shouldn't maybe it's not a good example. Because I was gonna say, like, maybe you shouldn't be encouraging me to look at my phone when I'm sleeping. But you know what I sleepy, but you know what I mean.
You hear that, everybody? Ramon wants you to look at your phone before bed and take it into bed with you and ruin your lives.
No, I don't.
So I'm
Yeah.
so sorry I wasn't able to be at the
Shall we try?
Netlify. Can we try? Could now you have to drive and type. This is the worst. Can you teach me how to use this new form thing you showed?
Totally.
You were shown.
We will need to do a couple of things. First, we're gonna need to push our code live.
Push, push,
Then
push.
oh, yeah, let's do that. So, what do we got? We made a couple of changes here. Can I show some not necessarily maybe a bit too much Git stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we're gonna add as we've done before, but we're gonna do something called patching.
Oh,
So this is where we're going to select because we've made changes to the index file. But I want to only because we've done a couple of things in there. because we added a form, but we also changed the language of some stuff. So
Yeah.
what we're going to do is only commit certain parts of this.
Weird.
This is
Yes.
called patching, and it's very, very, it seems overwhelming, but it's pretty cool.
This is
So
going line by line to say, do you want to push this?
exactly. So,
Oh,
and
look at this. Stage this hunk.
I know. So it'll ask you state
Precious.
this hunk. You will say Y for yes, and then press enter. And now
Okay,
it's like,
wait. No, you said Y for yes and then press enter. But there, yeah, no, all the way down at the bottom if it's okay.
oh yeah,
Yes, no, quit.
I'm not sure.
Because you were just like, look at this fancy thing. I'll be like, wait, no, come back. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's very fair to call me out on. I have no idea. But
I'll
oh no, I do know
find.
one of them. I do know one of
Yeah.
them because I'm going to use it now. Because the next chunk of changes is pretty smushed together because we got 1 out of 2 and then 2 out of 2 chunks of changes. So one of them is changing the languages of these. But also in this hunk is the form. So I don't want to have both of those. So I'm going to ask patching mode to please S for split.
Oh.
So do that again.
You're
Press
so
enter.
polite. You were like, I don't know what all these letters are, except I do.
No, I forgot. I forgot that I knew. So I'm going to press S. So now it's like made the granularity or like the condensed the size of these hunks. You can see I'm now at 2 out of 5. So do I want to add this that I changed science fiction en français to sci-fi in French? Yes.
Yeah.
Do I want to add sci-fi in Spanish and sci-fi in Japanese? Yes, I do.
And if we
I
wanted
pressed
to, we could. Oh no, we can't split these into smaller hunks. These are the smallest hunks we can have because I don't see the
yeah,
letter S available anymore.
don't think we can, no. Do we want to add this change here? Yes.
Yes.
By the way, green means we added and red means we deleted.
Oh, that's quite clever.
Yeah. So do I want to add this? Yes, I do. Do I want to add my changes to this? Now I will say no. So now it looks a little bit wonky. Let's look at get status again. Now it looks a little bit strange. I've added some changes to my index.html file to be added, but I also left some out.
Okay.
So,
and I'm just trying to think of when I would use this. I think I might use this when I'm ready to. I'm done for the day. I'm tired because I'm always done for the day. I'm always tired. But maybe I've got parts of this application working, but not everything. So I'm going to stage the part. I'm going to push the parts. I'm going to add and then commit and then push the parts that I know work. But maybe I'm going to come back and fight with the parts that don't work later.
yes, exactly. So this is ready to be committed. So I'm going to do a git commit -m. Now we need to write our message of what changed, which was in this one, make languages into English by default.
And this is actually a best practice because we're supposed to. It is often recommended to go ahead and push your stuff to Git as you may. So this way, if you change something, did break something, you can go back and say, okay, it was this commit or it was this commit. Whereas if you change a whole bunch of stuff at the same time and push it all at the same time, if that breaks your website, you have to go back and say, oh, was it this? Oh, was it? So really, you're doing this in the best possible way.
Thank you. I hope so. So if we do a git, so I've committed. If I do a git status now, there's still some changes that need to be something done with. So what we can do is git add. If we want, we can do a patch again. If not, we know what's going to come in.
Let's just git add with the dot for everything. Yeah. And that's going to be everything in the shared folder. That dot mirrors what it looks like in the terminal.
Exactly.
Everything's fine.
Add email sign up. Sound good?
Sounds good. And that's going to add our commit message.
So
and then remember, we've got
to
push it into the repo.
Origin main. So that's done. and off we go.
Okay, but get status now. Get status now. Are
Oh,
we
yeah.
done? Are we like for real done?
We're done. Look, nothing to commit, working tree clean.
Oh, clean trees.
If we go to GitHub and give that a refresh, we can see we committed. We have 4 commits now.
We've got the last one is now. And this is especially useful because we can see add email sign up. That's really useful. Okay.
Exactly. So now
So can we? So I don't think we'll do all of it. Yeah. Can we go to Netlify?
it's time. Let's do it. So I'm going to zoom in just a touch so we can see better. Now I did sign in yesterday. I hope I'm still signed in today. I am. Phew.
Big mood.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a new website. So add new site.
Yeah.
And I'm going to import an existing project.
And I see some very tiny little graphics next to it. Can you pick them from there, or is that just letting you previewing which of the ones you could pick? Because I see a tiny GitHub logo. I see a tiny GitLab logo. You know what? Let's just click on import an existing project.
Bitbucket?
My poor old lady
Yeah.
eyes.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, good. They give us bigger buttons. That is so merciful. So we've got this on GitHub. So do we want to deploy with NitHub? NitHub? Or we could try Netlify drop. We could drag and drop the whole folder. But
Oh, yeah.
probably folks are going to be using GitHub to deploy. It's probably best to show people the way we'll actually do it.
So gonna try deploy with GitHub. Oh, y'all can't see it, but it's. Oh no, wait. Of course you can.
I love how you're just such a sweetheart. Where you're like, oh, I've got a flag that you. Yeah.
So sci-fi. Gonna look through. It's gonna give me all of my repositories. Well, it's taking a while.
I mean, it's been a long week.
So now we've got that done. So we've got our base directory, our build command. We've got none of that.
I don't have any of these.
Believe we should be able to just deploy our website. Let's give it a try. So that's deploying. It doesn't look broken, which is a relief, pardon me. So it's published. Oh, look. We have a auto-generated website now called Transcendent Pegasus.
No, that's too nice. That's far too nice.
I like it. So, hey, there it is. It's a bit smaller just because I haven't zoomed in here. There we go.
And really, I think when we leave this today, we're gonna leave it kind of ugly because this is not the most beautiful website. Oh,
yeah. So
I'm
now
so
I believe
sorry.
you're fine. Do we want to try forms?
Yeah, let's try. So there's just a form button on the side. Enable. Wait, hang on. Manage forms. What with no JavaScript? With no JavaScript. An HTML form with a Netlify attribute. Okay, we're going to need to add a Netlify attribute to our form tag. Can we learn more about forms in the docs?
Yeah, let's do it.
You had me at no extra JavaScript.
Right? So once enabled, the built-in form detection feature allows our build system to automatically parse your HTML at deploy time, so there's no need to make an API call or include extra JavaScript on your site. Yes.
I'm going to say that in a less technical way.
Oh yeah, go for it.
So once you enable their form feature, it means that when they deploy, when they serve your website, they'll automatically look for forms and then make them functional forms without needing to use an API, which is a slightly more complicated, more complicated to implement, but very, very important for JavaScript development and other kinds of development, or have to write any JavaScript on your site. You had me at no backend code.
Do we want to try this?
Yeah. So to get started, enable automatic form detection and then add a Netlify. Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry, I went too fast.
No, you're fine. So go to site configuration forms, and they've given you a little link.
Oh, lovely. I'm going to open that in a separate tab.
Love a separate tab. Oh, and
Great.
it looks like you could just push that blue button. Technically, you need to read everything on a page
I get excited.
before. But the big secret is almost nobody does. For me, it said, "Oh, do you want to go to the link and enable form detection?" I got here. I was like, I'm just going to push that blue button. Y'all should definitely do what I say, not as I do.
So it looks like once we enable form detection, all we need to do then is add a netlify attribute to our form tag. So this goes a little bit beyond what we've done in the past with having an action in our forms. Netlify is just going to magically understand what this form, just create an action for our form. In fact, just, do you know what we might do? Is we might inspect our HTML once the
And see what it's doing.
yeah. Let's do that. So I'm going to enable form detection.
It's
And wouldn't you know it,
enabled.
that's enabled. We will go back to our website and add a netlify attribute. Shall I go ahead and do that?
Inside the form tag.
Inside the form tag.
And I think we just add the word netlify.
Yes.
Is that how that attribute works? Because it doesn't take any kind of arguments. So we're just going to go inside where we open up our form tag, and we're just going to say netlify.
Yes, code. Yes. So here's our form.
Oh.
Sorry.
No, you're fabulous. That was just say, oh, I know what's going on.
There's our netlify.
This seems too easy.
Well, you know, there is one thing we forgot to do that I would like to add in while we're at this. Right now, people can submit the form without putting anything into the email address.
Should we make it required?
Yeah. Once that's done, we can go ahead and save it. Shall we try looking at it locally to see how it looks?
Yeah. And I think, oh.
Look at that. I've got some test emails. So I'm going to submit that. And it took me back here because it didn't know what to do with my form.
Oh, because sometimes you'll get a splash page that's like, good job, thank you.
Exactly.
Picture of a bunny rabbit. And we haven't drawn a bunny rabbit. We haven't made that extra, like, thank you for your interest.
Exactly.
That's cool. So by default, it's just going to take you back to where you were. That makes sense.
So what I might do now is actually do a git status, do a git add index, because you can add individual files. Do a git commit -m.
Netlify form.
Enable netlify form.
That's much better than mine.
No, you were great. So now that that's done, we're going to git push origin. Actually, before we do that, let's go back to netlify. I want you to see something cool, Jess.
I mean, I consistently see cool things. So is it that it's automatically as soon as, yeah.
Yeah. Check this out. It's going to be amazing. So
we had a really good, we had somebody ask this question when we first started working to say, oh, is it going to automatically redeploy every time I push? And I was so confident. I was like, no, I don't think it's that cool. And it does.
Yeah, it's really cool technology. So I'm going to git push origin main. That looks good. So let's see what happens here. Don't make me look silly, Netlify. I was hoping it would show up automatically, but I think that was a bit too hopeful. Maybe what I need to do is refresh. Hold on. I didn't do anything.
No, not yet. You thought about it.
I thought I came this close to refreshing. But it would appear. Oh, no.
Because my follow-up question is, where does the email address go?
That is an excellent question.
And once this deploys, we might be able to find that out.
Yeah. I'm going to actually give this a refresh just to see where we're at.
And this is actually a really good time to mention that tomorrow, one thing that happened that's very cool is that the curriculum for freeCodeCamp is always changing, always being updated. Since it looks like we're gonna wrap this up in a minute or two, do we want to go ahead and do? They've added a new lesson, so they've replaced one of the lessons in freeCodeCamp.
Oh yeah,
we've been working on it, haven't they?
Oh, you mean the Picasso painting being replaced by the cat painting?
Yeah. I was gonna say, if you want to, we could do that tomorrow because
Sounds
I think
great.
it would be very fun and relaxing.
Absolutely, that sounds wonderful. So,
Oh,
bef-
also, sorry, I just cheated and looked at it at the same time. The cat picture is super weird as well.
let me see. Oh, my heart. I love that. That is very cute. So that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow afternoon for us.
Yeah.
Um, take a look at this again real quick. Oh yeah, so check it out. I've refreshed. Now there's a new version of my website of our
Yeah.
website live. Let's go ahead and open that.
Because
So
what I
open.
want to see is if we put an email in there, where in Netlify can we see that email?
So I'm going to put in demo@demo.com. I'm going to submit that.
Oh. So they automatically gave a confirmation message, which we
Yep.
hadn't done. And that is a very polite thing to do. So good. Oh, good on them.
Back to our site. So we're back here.
Yeah.
Let's go look at it now. So I'm just going to make this a little bit wider. Go to forms. Now we see here one form collecting data. If I go to active forms and click here. Now I don't.
Last submission a few seconds ago.
Yeah. Oh,
I
downloaded CSV. Liz is
oh,
here. Hi,
hello, Liz.
Liz.
I think
If I open that,
I'm just bothering everybody.
oh, please open it in VS Code. Please open it in VS Code. No, not in numbers.
Numbers.
Come on. Uh,
Just open it in numbers. Come on.
I don't know how to.
Is
Hold
it,
up.
you just push find.
Spreadsheets. Oh, geez. Okay, so it
Yeah.
looks.
Oh, so this is a really good point where they were saying a CSV is comma separated values.
Oh,
So
yeah.
here you can have a TSV, which is tab separated values. You could have a CSV, and that's just like what character is separating the values. Yeah, thank you
Oh,
very
look at
much.
that. It got treated as spam. That's the problem.
Oh. I mean, to be fair, it
Interesting.
is spam.
Oh, because it's demo@demo.com. That makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so this is cool. So it automatically filters out stuff it
Yeah.
thinks is spam, which is very, very handy.
Yeah.
And for value, we can see in the forms, it'll just go into a CSV in the forms we can download.
Exactly.
What can you think of any reasons why we might not want to take email addresses?
Well, there's a number of reasons, most of them revolving around security. Of course, you know, giving your email address to somebody that you don't know where that email address is going to end up, if it's going to be end up being signed up for spam mailing lists, or used to contact you for scams and that sort of thing. But also there are laws.
Laws.
Yep. There are laws around how email addresses and personal data are handled. For example, in Europe, you've got a governing law called the Globe
Global data protection
Regulation.
Rufus.
Uh,
Regulation.
yeah, GDPR. Um,
California, you've got
yep.
the Californian GDPR. And like what?
No,
I'm
I mean
trying.
that's yeah. I mean there's a bunch of laws around this so that essentially not collecting email addresses unless you need them. Of course, in this case, we need them because we want to let folks know when our bookstore will be live.
But I always want to discourage people from taking information when they don't need it. So there's this
Exactly.
temptation. Do you know what a panopticon is?
Yeah, I mean, I do. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's a monitoring kind of thing where you've got a viewing center
It
and you
was an
can
early
see.
model for a prison where inmates don't know if they could be being watched at any time. So and we often
Oh,
talk about surveillance on the web becoming a panopticon, where people are just hoovering up your data all over the place, and it's very scary. So
Ooh,
I like to encourage people, don't take data you don't need because you've got an ethical responsibility to take really good care of it. There's a lot of security, but also you've got a legal responsibility to take really good. And do you know what's the easiest way to take care of sensitive data? Is just not take it when you don't need it.
exactly. Exactly. If we don't need it, in fact, if some of y'all have this URL, you might have submitted some email address. Guess what? I'm not going to refresh this anymore live on stream just to be on
Yeah.
the safe side. I am copying Phil, who had the great idea to note this, because he had a QR code. He's like, maybe not a good idea that you all scan this right now. I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's fair.
Let's wait.
Mm.
Let's wait. So, oh, and gosh, one thing do you know what we could do? Can we take this site down? Or can we
Oh,
take our form down? Can we break our form?
I think we can. In fact, mm,
Because I because you made a really good point. Oh, what if people watching the stream send us their email addresses? And immediately I thought, oh no, I don't want to be responsible for people's email addresses. Oh, so we
there
could
we
just
go.
say disable. Oh, cool. So this will
Oh
break
no,
our automatic form.
sorry, I did want to see what goes on here. Can I check real
Yeah,
quick?
yeah, of course. I'm extremely not the boss of you.
You are far too patient and kind with me. So, check it out. Look what Netlify did. So you can see here our markup. Let me make it just a touch larger. Uh,
Huh.
is it Command plus?
Command plus, usually.
Ah,
Oh, dang, that's heckin' big.
sorry, that's
So
a bit too big.
no, no, it's fabulous. I really like this in DevTools because you can highlight this and it'll highlight the conceptual rectangle.
Yeah, it's so helpful. So you can see they've added automatically a post. So what I suspect is happening is that Netlify automatically configures itself to have this email address set, this website set with the same name. So that's it. That's all we needed to check. How are we feeling?
I'm feeling pretty late. And you know what? We're rolling right up at the hour as well. It might
Yeah,
be a nice time to see if we've got any. Do we have any questions? And then
please.
wander off into the ether. And by wander off into the ether, I mean take a nap.
Yep, I'm definitely I'm done for today. I'm going to take it very easy.
Yeah. Oh gosh, did we disable this form?
Yes. Oh, yep, it is not enabled.
Amazing.
The reason it showed up is because I hadn't refreshed this website
You're
yet.
fine. You're fine. I was just like, oh, did we break this thing? And it's only really because we don't want this information.
Absolutely. And in
Hmm.
fact, just to be on the safe side until tomorrow, let's can I disable this website for a bit? I should have checked this before coming live. I'll figure it out after the stream.
Amazing. Everything's fine. And in the meantime, let's go ahead and wander off. I see some of our learners saying they could use a little bit of a nap as well.
Oh,
Ramon, I will see you. Well, if you're around, I'll see many of you tomorrow morning.
sounds wonderful. Bye, everyone.